Hollywood, the most glamorous place on earth, the land of red carpets, billion-dollar movies, and the biggest stars in the world. But behind the perfect smiles, the award speeches, and the carefully managed public image lies a world so dark, so corrupt, and so deeply disturbing that most people would never believe it if they hadn't heard it for themselves. These are the dark secrets Hollywood has spent decades trying to hide, and by the time we reach number 1, you will never watch a movie the same way again. Number 10. The Hollywood Blacklist. In the late 1940s and 1950s, Hollywood was gripped by one of the most shameful periods in American cultural history. A group of powerful men known as the House Un-American Activities Committee began investigating the film industry for alleged communist sympathies. What followed was a witch hunt. Screenwriters, directors, actors, and producers were called before the committee and pressured to name their colleagues as communists. Those who refused to cooperate, or who were named by others, were placed on a secret blacklist and completely frozen out of the industry. Careers that had taken decades to build were destroyed overnight. Some of those blacklisted were entirely innocent. Several took their own lives as a result, and the studios that participated in the blacklist faced almost no consequences whatsoever. Number 9. The dark side of the star system. In Hollywood's golden age, the major studios ran what was known as the star system, and it was essentially modern-day slavery. Young actors were signed to long-term contracts that gave the studios complete control over every aspect of their lives. Studios told them what to wear, what to eat, who to date, and who to marry. Actors who gained weight were put on dangerous amphetamine diets by studio doctors. Young actresses were routinely given pills to keep them thin and awake for long shooting schedules, and then given other pills to help them sleep at night. Many of Hollywood's biggest Golden Age stars became severely addicted to prescription drugs as a direct result of studio policy. Some of them never recovered. The studios knew exactly what they were doing, and they did it anyway. Number 8. What really happens to child stars. Hollywood has an extraordinarily dark history when it comes to child performers. Jackie Coogan, one of the biggest child stars of the silent film era, earned the equivalent of millions of dollars as a child actor, only to discover as an adult that his parents had spent virtually every cent. California had no laws protecting child actors' earnings at the time, and the studio system actively encouraged parents to exploit their children's income. This pattern has repeated itself throughout Hollywood history. Child stars subjected to extreme working hours, adult pressures, and in many documented cases, abuse by powerful industry figures. The entertainment industry has consistently failed to protect the most vulnerable people within it, and continues to do so to this day. Number 7. The casting couch. For as long as Hollywood has existed, there has been a deeply embedded culture of powerful men exploiting their positions to demand sexual favors from aspiring actors. The term casting couch entered the public vocabulary decades ago, yet the industry did almost nothing to address it. What the Me Too movement revealed in 2017 was not a new problem, but an open secret that had been known about, whispered about, and actively covered up by studios, agents, lawyers, and publicists for generations. Careers were made and destroyed based on whether someone complied or refused. Women who spoke out were blacklisted, discredited, or silenced through legal threats. The system protected the powerful and punished those who dared to tell the truth. Number 6. Hollywood's secret surveillance machine. At the height of the studio system, the major Hollywood studios employed private investigators and informants to spy on their own stars. Studios needed to control their assets, and that meant knowing everything. Homosexual relationships were one of the most aggressively monitored areas, because being gay in mid-century America could destroy a career overnight. Stars were forced into fake public relationships called lavender marriages to hide their true identities, while studio fixers worked behind the scenes to suppress any stories that might leak to the press. The studios essentially ran a parallel legal system, paying off journalists, bribing police officers, and destroying evidence, all to protect the carefully manufactured image of their stars and, more importantly, their own financial investments. Number 5. Hollywood and the mob. During the 1930s and 1940s, the American mafia had deeply embedded itself into the Hollywood film industry. Mob boss Willie Beoff and his associate George Brown took control of the powerful stagehands union and used it to extort millions of dollars from the major studios. Studio executives paid the mob enormous sums of money to ensure their productions were not disrupted by strikes or sabotage. The arrangement suited both sides perfectly. The studios got labor peace, and the mob got millions. When federal investigators finally moved in, several studio executives were found to have been paying mob protection money for years and had actively concealed it. Even after the mob's direct control was broken, its influence on the industry continued through associated business dealings for decades. Number 4. The treatment of animals on Hollywood sets. For most of cinema history, the treatment of animals used in film production was almost entirely unregulated, and the results were horrific. During the filming of the original Ben-Hur in 1925, an estimated 100 horses were killed during the chariot race sequence alone. In the early days of Hollywood, animals were routinely harmed, terrified, and killed in the pursuit of dramatic footage. Even in more recent decades, multiple productions have been investigated for animal misdays and deaths on set. The phrase, "no animals were harmed in the making of this film," was introduced specifically because so many had been, and the organization responsible for monitoring animal welfare on sets has itself faced serious criticism for conflicts of interest and inadequate oversight. Number 3. The Hollywood pay gap. Hollywood has spent decades presenting itself as a progressive and socially conscious industry, yet internally it has maintained one of the most extreme gender pay gaps of any profession in the developed world. When emails from Sony Pictures were leaked in a major hack in 2014, the world discovered that female stars earning tens of millions of dollars were still being paid significantly less than their male co-stars for equivalent work. The same films, the same billing, the same cultural impact, but vastly different paychecks. The racial pay gap within the industry is even more pronounced, with Black and minority actors consistently earning less, receiving fewer leading roles, and facing far greater barriers to entry than their white counterparts. Despite years of public statements about diversity and inclusion, the data continues to tell a very different story. Number 2. How Hollywood shapes what you think. This one is less of a scandal and more of a quiet truth that most people have never considered. Hollywood is not just an entertainment industry, it is the most powerful propaganda machine in human history. For decades, the U.S. Department of Defense has had a formal arrangement with major Hollywood studios, providing military equipment, locations, and personnel for films in exchange for script approval. Films that portray the military in ways the Pentagon disapproves of do not receive this cooperation. Hundreds of major Hollywood productions have been shaped by this arrangement, including some of the most beloved action films ever made. The CIA has its own entertainment industry liaison office, which works with filmmakers to influence how the agency is portrayed on screen. What you watch shapes what you believe, and powerful institutions have always known this. And number 1, the silence. Perhaps the darkest secret of all is not any single scandal, any individual crime, or any specific cover-up. It is the collective silence of an entire industry. For decades, thousands of people in Hollywood knew about the abuse, the exploitation, the corruption, and the crimes being committed against the most vulnerable people in the industry. Agents knew, publicists knew, studio executives knew, fellow actors knew, lawyers knew, and the vast majority of them said nothing because the system rewarded silence and punished those who spoke. Careers, friendships, and financial relationships were all tied to maintaining the status quo. The machine kept running because everyone inside it had something to lose by stopping it, and that, more than any individual villain, is the darkest truth about Hollywood. It was never just one person, it was a system, and systems only survive because people choose to stay silent. Hollywood will keep making movies, keep selling dreams, and keep presenting a perfect image to the world. But now you know what lives behind that image. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe to Curiosities After Dark, where every week we pull back the curtain on the stories the powerful would rather you never heard. Hit the bell, share this with someone who needs to see it, and we will see you in the next one.